Our next presenter is near and dear to me because most of my success in life first started on a tennis court. They are revolutionizing the way the world plays the game, both on the baseline as well as off of it. Slinger, ticker SLBG, is a leading connected sports company focused on delivering innovative game improvement technologies and equipment across tennis and other ball sports. In its first 18 months of operations, Slinger has expanded to over 65 countries globally and is led by Mr. Mike Belardi, who is a legend in his own right. With that, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome Mike back to LD. I know, Mike, I think it's been about 16 months, but it feels a lot longer than that. Thank you for coming back. The floor is now yours.
Well, Chris, thank you for inviting me, and I hope I can live up to that fantastic introduction. Look forward to chatting to you later after the presentation.
Of course.
So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Slinger Bag presentation. As always, we'll start off, just please take note of our disclaimers, in regards to any forward-looking statements that I might make during the presentation or at the end in the Q&A with Chris. I suppose this, Slinger really started in the middle of 2018, but really the business started on July the 27th, 2020, when we actually shipped our first ever Slinger Bag to a consumer. And in the intervening time prior to that, I built up a management team, which I think has got considerable experience. Myself, Tom Dye, and Paul McEwen, who at that time was our CFO, collectively, we have over 100 years of experience in the global sporting goods industry, building companies, building brands, introducing revolutionary products to the market. And more recently, we've supplemented that with a new addition in Jason Seifert, who's our new CFO, whereas Paul has moved over to being our Chief Business Integration Officer, as we've, over the last few months, grouped together a number of new companies under the Slinger Bag umbrella. Jason joined us from Ernst & Young, and prior to that, he was working at the Finish Line, which is a NASDAQ company, and therefore has all of the requisite public market experience that you would expect a company on the OTC markets to have. So going back to that July 27th, when we shipped our first Slinger Bag into the market, since then, we've probably shipped close to 30,000 Slinger Bags into the United States tennis market, still only scratching the surface of a ginormous market in tennis. There are 5 million regular players in the United States playing tennis and 20 million players in total. And so, we're making an inroad and making a name for ourselves and our brand as a company that's reinventing tennis. But the most exciting part of our journey is actually in front of us. As we've got to know our consumers as well as we do today, we realized many months ago that the world of sports is changing, particularly after the pandemic, and what consumers today are looking for is a much deeper relationship with the companies that they support. And with that in mind, and considering that the world in terms of its data capabilities is growing at a fantastic pace, whether that's through 5G or through big data or artificial intelligence, whatever the technologies might be, we felt that it was right that we looked at what the future for Slinger Bag could be. And our vision of that future is to build what we call a connected sports platform. So over the past 6 months, we have put together a group of companies under Slinger, which includes Foundation Tennis, which was the first company that we acquired. They are based out of Boston and focus very much on club software administration tools that they provide to clubs throughout the United States, tennis clubs today, but really could be any club in the future. And GameFace AI and PlaySite are two companies where we've hope to close the deals on those companies before the end of this calendar year. We're just completing the SEC required audits on those companies, and actually in the next few days we're expecting those audits to be complete, and once we've reviewed all of that information, that those deals will be ready to close. And so we're very excited to bring together this connected sports platform, which is going to allow the company to grow very rapidly over the the course of the next 3 to 5 years. If we take a look at each of those companies in specifics, Slinger Bag, as I mentioned, has been in the market for the last 16, 17 months. I think we've done a pretty good job in disrupting what is a very traditional marketplace in tennis, with a product that is both affordable, it's affordable, transportable, and highly versatile. And its appeal to the tennis playing audience, no matter what level of tennis, the players are playing, from beginner right the way through to the highest levels of the touring professionals. And it's also, interestingly, been at the heart of many people who've come back to tennis. And if you followed any of the participation data that's been issued over the last 12, 18 months, you'll know that the growth of tennis has been quite substantial around the world. And I'd like to think that we have helped people who've lapsed their tennis playing activities come back to the sport, making it easier for them to get back into the game. Of course, as part of what we're doing, we operate on a direct-to-consumer basis, which gives us the direct communication vehicle with what we call avid tennis players. These are tennis players, a bit like Chris, actually, probably who gets the opportunity to play on a regular basis, once a week or once every couple of weeks. And these are the people who are spending across tennis. They're spending 80% of all of the revenues in tennis, whether that's joining facilities, country clubs, taking lessons, buying equipment, or accessing tennis events. And so these are very important target consumers to the wider tennis community and to the brands that operate in the tennis industry. We've also put together a high-profile, industry-leading group of partnerships and ambassadors and endorsees. At one level of the game, we are partnered with Patrick Mouratoglou, who's Serena Williams' coach, and he's a great advocate of everything that Slinger Bag can do to help coaches and players engage better when they're taking lessons on a court. We're partnered with Nick Bollettieri, probably the most famous tennis coach in the world of all time, having coached 10 world #1 players. And then we're partnered with great former tennis players like Tommy Haas, who was world #2, or Mike and Bob Bryan, the Bryan brothers, or Jeannie Bouchard from Canada, or Sonia Mirza from India. All of these players, have incredible social media followings, and as well as their abilities within tennis and their reputations and credibilities that they bring to the game and to their partnership with Slinger. Of course, we're very interested in those social media followings that they each have individually. One of the members of our team, Judah Honigman, he's a digital marketing expert. And I think if any of you have followed any of the activities that Slinger Bag has on a social media front, or whether you've searched inadvertently for a tennis ball machine or a tennis ball launcher, you'll find that you very regularly get ads or information about Slinger coming through. And that's no mean feat in terms of being able to work the systems and the algorithms behind Facebook and Google and all the other social media platforms that allow you to do that. And actually, over the past 15 months, I think consecutively, we have seen a 10x return on our advertising spend every single month. 10x, which is achieved very seldomly by any company in any industry. And of course, in addition to our success in the United States, as Chris mentioned earlier, we have built up a distribution platform across the world, from New Zealand and Australia in the Southern Hemisphere to India and the Middle East, over to Japan and China and Southern Asia. And of course, in Europe, now more than 65 markets where Slinger Bag can be purchased by tennis players around the world. And whilst we're only just starting, it's, I think a great testament to the product that we've produced, that we have so many strong partners in the world who in themselves are leading companies in the world of tennis. PlaySite, is probably the most famous brand that we have acquired, over the past 6 months. PlaySite has been in tennis for something like 12 years. They pioneered their technology and introduced it into tennis, as one of the first sports that they entered. And you'll if you're a member of a high-end country club, or if you've had the luxury of being able to go to a D1 university college to play tennis, or whether you've attended any kind of academy in the United States, at any time during your youth in terms of playing tennis, you will have come across PlaySite as a company that was providing automated video, live streaming of events for college and college teams, enabling them to not only look at their performances on an individual basis, but also on a campus-wide basis. Today, PlaySite is in multiple sports across the United States, not just tennis, but has a number of NBA teams, Major League Baseball teams, NHL teams, as well as being very well distributed across all the NCAA, high school, private schools, and many, many more. Today, it's much more of a B2B company. And the vision that we have at Slinger for the future of PlaySite is to convert it into a consumer brand, coupled by a brand new technology that will allow PlaySite to become a portable device that we'll be introducing at some point in the middle of next year. PlaySite has the luxury of being backed by a number of very important investment funds. One of them is SoftBank Ventures Asia. Another is Verizon Ventures. And a third, which is not on this list, is a company called Unbound, which is the investment company of one of the wealthiest individuals called Mittal, who's based in India. It's also been voted 2 times as the most innovative companies in sport by Fast Company. And the quality of its live streaming and video and performance analytics capabilities are second to none. As part of the go forward plans that we have for PlaySite, we will be integrating their technology into more facilities, going down the chain of tennis from where they are today, trying to spread the PlaySite brand to every tennis club and every public facility in the United States. And to do that, we'll be putting an army of people on the road over the course of the next 6 months to visit all of the facilities, all of the clubs, indoor and outdoor, and talk to them about how they can become automated or smart, have their courts made smart through the PlaySite technology. GameFace AI is a company that really is going to stay behind the scenes. It's not a company you're going to see a lot of branded materials about. For us, it's the inside intel of our group of companies. It's at the forefront of artificial intelligence in sport. It's been recognized already as a leading provider of artificial intelligence in cricket. And cricket is a widely viewed sport, participation sport outside of the United States, but around the rest of the world. And it's already in the market, and a very successful analytics technology it provides to many leading cricket organizations. It's also been recognized by FIFA, the world governing body of soccer, as the leading artificial intelligence company for soccer, and currently has projects on its docket with global iconic football clubs like FC Barcelona in Spain. And we got to know them around about a year ago as we were thinking about creating a Slinger app driven by artificial intelligence to provide the tennis community with analytics, performance analytics that were very different to what's out there at the moment. Very dynamic analytics that are designed to provide the players with real educational tools that will help them enhance and improve their games. And we liked what they were doing so much. We liked the people behind GameFace, that we made a proposal to them, which they accepted to become part of our group. And they're going to be driving the core of all of the activities, all of the technical activities behind all of the companies over the next few years. Foundation Tennis, as I mentioned earlier, is a company which is relatively new in the market, but its founders have been working, over the last 2 or 3 years, developing a software, which is all about facility management, court and pro booking, scheduling, group messaging and chat for memberships, offering website building and hosting, and mobile app development. It's a one-stop shop for a tennis facility, giving them everything they need to drive growth in their own individual facility businesses, but also to manage their membership databases. And that's something that I think is going to become much more important as we go forward. Interestingly, Foundation Tennis, even though it's a very small company at the moment, has been recognized by Square, the payment platform tool, as the recognized affiliate partner for the sports industry, for the health and wellness industry, and for the fitness industry. And so, they already have a tremendous relationship with Foundation Tennis. And as we roll out this software to more and more tennis facilities in the United States, we'll be also offering them the opportunity to use Square as part of their POS systems. The interesting thing with Foundation Tennis, and one of the key reasons that I wanted to acquire this company under the Slinger umbrella, is that today it has 400 tennis clubs in the United States out of 17,000 facilities in the United States. So only a very small percentage are using its system. But already it has 1 million registered users on its platform, and has transacted about 30 million transactions over the last 12 to 15 months. And for me, it's the 1 million tennis users who are all bullseye consumers for the Slinger Group. These are members of tennis clubs who make the acquisition of Foundation Tennis a real interesting proposition. And in fact, when I think about our current ecosystem, with these 3 companies and with Slinger, today we have 1.7 million users using our ecosystem altogether, which is quite a significant number, considering that we're only at the starting point of where this company is going to go. So what's our objective? Our objective is all about taking the sport vertical that we're going to operate in, and let's just focus on tennis for a moment. So if you're in tennis, you either watch it, you play it, or you learn it. And so the Slinger Group is going to be all about providing services, some of them free and some of them subscription services, that will deliver to you the watch, play, and learn activities that you're interested in. And so under the watch umbrella, of course, we have PlaySight, and our aim is to democratize their technology and make it available to every tennis facility across the United States and across the world, ultimately. Under the play umbrella, you have Slinger with its Slinger Bag technology that will expand into pickleball and padel tennis in the next few months, as well as Foundation Tennis, which allows the tennis facilities to maximize their return on their membership databases. And under the learn activity, you have all of the PlaySight and the Slinger Bag analytics that are coming, all driven by GameFace. The focus of our new group of companies is going to be on 4 core sports. We're focusing on racket sports, so that includes tennis, of course, pickle and paddle, as I mentioned, potentially squash and potentially badminton in the future. It will also focus on baseball and softball. And actually behind the scenes at Slinger, we're already well into our development process of an incredible baseball and softball launcher that will come to market in the early part of 2023. And we're also going to be focusing on cricket, this sport that has such a huge following and levels of participation outside the United States. These are going to be the core sports that are going to drive the success of this group of companies. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, PlaySight in particular is in about another 20 different sports, basketball, hockey, and many others. And we're going to maintain those activities as we focus on developing the success model of success within the 4 core sports that I mentioned earlier. And so our company is all going to be about content, streaming, and big data. And we're going to drive our revenues through a mixture of SaaS revenues and traditional revenues. And I think over time, we'll end up at revenues being around SaaS revenues being around 65% of our total revenue base. In terms of our, consumer user projection, so this chart is showing you two things. The blue line is showing you that, we're looking at starting our activities with around about 1.7 million users that we have on our books today. We want to grow that to 3 million users by the end of 2023 and up to 12 million users in 5 years' time. That's just in tennis, or in racket sports, let me say. And of that, because these are bullseye target consumers for this group of companies, I believe that we can have a very high conversion rate of users to subscribers. And we're going to start off, estimating that by the end of 2022, we'll have 300,000 subscribers, and we'll grow that subscriber number to around about 3 million by the end of 2027. They are significant numbers just in tennis or racket sports. And then we will effectively cut and paste and replicate all of that in parallel in baseball and softball starting in 2023, and in cricket maybe in 2024. And so, all of those things will come together to drive a significant success for this group of companies under our watch, play, and learn umbrella. In terms of what that means in revenues, well, if we, at the end of 2021, if we put these 4 companies together, we're going to be looking at, revenues of around about $25 million combined. And we're predicting that, or expecting to drive revenue to around $40 million by the end of 2022, and up to close to $130 million within a 5-year time period, of which, as I mentioned earlier, 65% of our revenues would be coming from service subscription revenue. So a significant opportunity for us as a company. And alongside that, we will, of course, be creating big data opportunities and value within the company. And we will be creating a huge amount of media content, because when we launch our apps, we'll be offering consumers not only the analytics, but we'll be offering them, the opportunity to get e-coaching, activities. There'll be plenty of drills and practice sessions that they can pick up and practice over a period of time. And so by doing that, we have a very sticky product that will keep the consumers within each sport vertical within our group of companies. And of course, we'll be looking to expand that group as and when we identify other companies who we think can add value to our portfolio. I guess at that moment, I'll leave it there and go back to Chris and get ready for a grilling of questions that I'll probably find very difficult to answer.
And so for anyone who's interested in asking a question, thank you for the presentation, Mike, by the way. You can use the Q&A function in the Zoom app. But of course, you're probably going to have to deal with me right now. It's a totally different company.
Yes.
So I mean, with the opportunity comes the responsibility. How have the acquisitions ultimately been integrated within Slinger? Are you kind of the mindset where it's hands off, as in you bought them, they're operating on their own right, and there's only a few functions that you provide them as the parent company, or is it much more kind of embedded in just the day-to-day operations?
Actually, it's we're going to restructure everything, Chris. So of course, as I mentioned earlier, the play site and the game face deals will close before the end of the year. So of course, we're in very close communication with the management of those companies today. We're learning a lot about their activities and how they're currently structured. We want to keep the best, of course, and we want to try and find all of the synergies that we have within the overall group. Of course, the obvious thing is that all of the back-end activities of the company, let's say supply chain, finance, legal, all of those kind of activities will be done at a group level. So we'll be alleviating them of having to worry about things like that, and we'll take care of it at a corporate level. We're looking at opportunities to combine sales activities of Playside, Slinger, and Foundation, under a tennis sales organization. We're looking at creating a separate organization for what we call multi-sport within Playside. So for basketball and baseball and some of those other 20 sports that they're involved in. So really, taking the best of what they've got in terms of their current structure, but morphing it into how we think we can operate most effectively and most efficiently as a group of companies. And of course,
oh, please.
No. And of course, in doing that, we're obviously looking to I'm going to say save, might not be the right word. We're looking to save costs so that we can reinvest more of our time and energy into the things that really matter to the consumer, which is, driving R&D, driving consumer engagement, driving, the partnerships that we can create, which can provide better content for the subscribers that we're going to have.
Do you think that this halo effect that's taking place with tennis and golf and a few more outdoor sports, do you think that that momentum is still there for 2022? Or do you think a slowdown is ultimately in place?
Until a couple of weeks ago, I would have said the momentum is still there. I think, everyone's now a little nervous about this new coronavirus Omicron variant. So we don't quite know what the effect of that is. Already in my part of the world, in Europe, everything is shutting down again to prevent its spread. So we'll see what, we have to be cautious, I suppose, in terms of our expectation. But having said that, I think that sport in general, through the COVID period, people realize that, that it's a much better balance for their lives to have health and wellness and sports, as a much bigger part of, the day-to-day activity. And so I think, tennis has definitely benefited over the last 24 months from a significant growth. And whilst that will slow down, of course, the challenge to each sport, and tennis in particular, is to keep those people who have re-engaged with tennis in the sport. And I think that we can help with that in terms of this group and this structure of companies we're putting together.
Is there any desire from you guys to expand on the tennis equipment side? Because as you know, there's not a lot of niche players in this category. And then there's also a lot of names that, could be brought back to life.
Yes.
It's...
Yeah, I mean, I know where you're going with that question, and it's a good one. And I will say, not in the short term, although I am, I can't tell you the name of the company. I am in discussions with a company, a very interesting company that's based in Europe, which is all about personalization of tennis. So whether you want to design your own tennis racket, pink with orange spots, they provide a facility actually a little bit like with a McDonald's menu screen that you can actually do that. And whether you want to have your own shirt and shorts and shoes, believe it or not, they can do that in a very short period of time. And so we're looking at that company as a potential opportunity to help us expand. I'm not going to say to compete with some of the big sport equipment brands in tennis, but to take advantage of what is, a niche opportunity as consumers want more personalized product.
Well, I was thinking of something a little bit smaller, like Turn-A-Grip, where you have the contrast of the bag,
yes,
and you have something as quick and as small as disposable.
Yeah.
that you're going to use, because I don't know who Turn-A-Grip is owned by. I think it's family owned, but just something where it's another unique vertical. It can be accretive, and it can get even can get that network even larger for us.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be looking more at sport tech related companies. So I think there's a lot of stuff happening in the sport tech world. A lot of incredible technologies that are going to be coming over the next 18 months that will enhance the experience of the tennis player. And I'd like us to be at the forefront of all of that. And so, I was on a presentation the other day about, believe it or not, virtual reality tennis. That you can actually really play at home. Of course, virtual reality is going to come to everybody soon. Today, it may be a bit too expensive for a lot of people, but over the next few years, the price of the the goggles and all of the equipment is going to drop down dramatically, and it'll become maybe the new Xbox. Tennis needs to be involved in that kind of stuff. It's probably past me. It's not what I would do, but I get how it's growing, and esports is becoming a really big sector of the sporting industry, and we have to be aware of it and where we can be involved.
Yeah, I'm going to make fun of it, so it's going to be very successful. That's kind of. Right. I'm like, no,
I remember you making fun of me one time.
Well, my final question is, and I know it's a pipe dream, but Hawkeye is an incredible technology.
Yes.
And there is no person on the planet, either recreational or professional, that can dispute what it's done for the sport. You guys have entire tournaments where there's only one ref, and they're sitting, they're sitting at the center and they're looking at everything. Everything else is basically Hawkeye. Will Hawkeye technology be available recreationally in the next 2 to 3 years?
I would say yes. I can tell you already. So Hawkeye works from like 12 cameras. That's how it's so accurate. There's so many fixed cameras. PlaySide actually has a line calling system, which I'm going to say is 98%, 99% accurate. But as a tennis player, you'll know that that's not good enough. You have to be 100% accurate. And so, the accuracy comes from the panoramic view with so many cameras. That's how they're successful. But it will, there will be, I'm sure something will become available that is, maybe not as good, but good enough. But today it's not possible to do that. And people are trying. I've seen acoustic versions of Hawkeye, believe it or not, and things like that.
No, Mike, that 98% accuracy is still better than any human being on the planet.
Yeah, but it's that match point that gets called wrong that's going to infuriate you and not make you believe in it, right? So
I could tell you this point based. I hope they're not watching. Some of our members at our club, I don't even think are at 50% accuracy.
So, glad you said that.
I said that. Mike, it's always a pleasure catching up. I look forward to kind of seeing how this ultimately evolves. I think you guys are going to where, you're moving to where the puck is going. And I think people are still underestimating what technology is going to do for all sports, let alone just tennis or ping pong or things of that nature. But look, I appreciate you following up. I'll be in touch, and thank you again for your time.
Chris, thank you for inviting us, and thanks for all you're doing for the microcap markets too. I mean, it's incredible.
Well, right now they need all the help they can get.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to have to push back retirement at least a few more weeks.
Thanks very much.
You be well.
Yeah. Take care, man. Bye.